Hello everyone, welcome to Zonderling, giving a shot at the Future Music and Music Radar Sample Challenge. I'm Martijn, and one half of Zonderling. We're from the Netherlands. You might have heard some of our music. If not, go check that out. The idea behind the sample challenge was that you were given a folder full of samples, and you could only use those samples and add one recording and one soft synth of your own. But I didn't do that because I was also allowed to use wavetable synthesis with this, as long as you use the samples provided. So I used that as a basis for the melodic and sort of synthy chordy stuff. So I'm gonna play the samples that I think that I used first in their raw format. So I used the agogo bell and the 808 kick, the 909 clap, 909 closed hi-hat. I think that's an open hi-hat, but whatever. Synth bass line, vinyl break, vocal open up your eyes.
Open up your eyes.
Yeah, great. And a grill pan, of course. And the synth ping to top it off. Alright, so I'll refer back to them when I can. So the started with the 808 kick. I thought it was I mean, yeah, it was just 808 kick, and I looped the tail of the 808 kick and cut it loose so that it would become a little bit more tonal. And I did some processing on just EQ on the actually I used a disperser first. This is a bounced track. Used a disperser on the 808 kick, and I'm gonna do it again to see if I can get it on this channel again. Yep. So I'm gonna solo this track. Forget about these for a second. So without effects, it sounds like this, and with the disperser, it sounds like this. So there's a bit more of a donk there. It's a mega donk preset. It's not the mega donk preset, but it's that's where I started. So yeah, a bit more punch, and then I just used the first little bit for the punch, and then looped the tail and then faded it. So the tail is just a tonal, like a sine wave with some overtones. So with the transient and the first bit of the pitch dive. Great. So that was the kick, the beginning of the kick at least. I think I did some more processing later. So yeah, it's a bit shorter because there's also a bass line later on that's gonna do the job of that low end in between the kicks. So that was the kick. Let's see where I think the next step was the chords. The chords were a serum instance with the vocal loaded into the wavetable engine. So I'm gonna just duplicate this preset to show you what it is doing. Let's see. So the wavetable is this sound. It's the open up your eyes vocal stretched out over the whole wavetable engine. Actually, wait a minute. It's doubled, so let's just use this. I actually looped this, sorry. Let's not use that for a second. Yeah, it's open up your eyes, obviously. Yeah, with a low pass filter on it, and it's going through the wavetable with this LFO shape at 6.1 Hertz, and it's doubled. So one is just one single instance of the sample playing with the same starting point, and then there's 4 voices with slightly random starting points playing over the top of it, so that you get a bit of a stereo vibe. And I had to tune it down a little bit because it was out of tune, of course, because it was just melody. So probably the bits that or the way it analyzed the sample wasn't 100% accurate. All right, so so here it is again, and then I started playing chords with it and started to do some additional altering of the wavetable position. So here is the result. You're gonna hear it with some sidechaining, so that's maybe not so great without the kick, but yeah, so what it's doing is it's going through the it's looping the LFO, and it's not synced, so whenever something is starting off beat or off the grid of its own rate, then it will start flamming the voices. So that sounds really messy, and I like that. So you could literally just add a note here, for example, and you'll hear the idea. So. Or if I play it here. Yeah, so it starts whenever the MIDI note starts playing, and then so this macro automation channel here is altering the wavetable position once again, and then this is the low pass filter mix. So it's doing with the low pass on all the time. It sounds closed, and then when you open it, it sounds like that. And then just a bit of automation there to make it sound lively. And then there's probably some effect throws on there too. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's an alt pass that I really like, this alt pass filter in some effects where you pan the filter so that it doesn't use the same cutoff point for the left and right channel. So, and then you automate this. I actually didn't do it here on this channel. It's just set to this. But you can get this weird sort of phasey, not phaser, but pitch phase, whatever effect in stable sound. I really like that. So that's that, and I think there's another instance for the intro that's just a bit more closed, I guess. Yeah. Alright, what's next? There's some edits of the vocal. Oh, you give me everything you need. Oh, I forgot to import that vocal. Well, that's the other vocal sample that we were allowed to use, and this is just an effect throw. Let's see. Yeah. So that's just you with some effects on it. Oh, sorry. Valhalla Uber mod for the flanged dotted delay, dotted 8 delay. Yeah, bounce that because even though this plugin Valhalla Ubermod is really cool for long delays like this, it tends to get when you play it back, it will go on forever even when you stop your playback, so it's easier to bounce it. And right, so additionally I did I used another sample for wavetable synthesis, the synth bass line for the bass. So it's just really just low pass all the way through with some distortion. A little bit of it's not even really distorted that much. It's just, this is the sound. Let's see. So wavetable position, just a little short piece of it with some low pass filtering in the envelope mode of the LFO section of Serum, and then just blown up a little bit so that it sounds a bit more full, but it's not playing a big part in this little sketch. Let's see, the other drum sounds that are in there. The clap is just the 909 clap, but I've used the transient slightly before the count to do just that, and then the tail of it with some processing on it, a guitar rig. So without any processing, it sounds like, it sounds like the 909 clap. But this part has some processing on it so that it sounds a bit more boxy. And so yeah, with the transient bit before, or the snappy bit before it sounds a bit more like a clap, especially on top of the kick. And then there's the 909 hi-hat. I have added a tiny little pitch envelope at the beginning so that it goes up, or it comes from below. It's a bit more like a pedal head. And also from the vinyl break, I nicked a little bit of noise, which comes just before it hits, so that it's a bit more sloppy. But yeah, I mean, probably not what I would usually use for drums, but thought it was kind of nice to just use the samples from the pack provided. Alright, and then the other sounds are mostly just to fill up the spaces and just lead into different sections and stuff like that. Like the agogo bell, it was this original sound, yeah, and just added some weird delay and automated it. I think that's on this track. Yeah, it's an Ubermod again that is being modulated. Let's see, wait, it's being automated, so without it, yeah, with Ubermod. Oh shit. So see, there you go, it's a endless delay. So it's just doing that. So I just bounced that and muted the plugin. So bounce it, it's just, oh, it actually, that wasn't all the automation, I think. Oh, right, so it, let's see, why is it doing? Yeah, that sounds more like it. Yeah, that's what I recorded. So lots of fun. And then there's the synth chord. I think that's the synth ping. That's just I think it's literally just the same thing, shorter, maybe a different key. Yeah, different key. But it fills it up nicely in a gap here, sort of leading into the next section, and the grill pan is the best for as a layer for some super amazing stereo effect. Leading into the next bar. I think that was all the samples that I used. And I actually also used the 909 shaker. Didn't mention that before, but that's just being used as a shaker. Yeah, so there's OTT on the main chords after the effects, because that will blow up the effects. And there's a Pro OL limiter on the here on the master out. Anything else that is worth mentioning that I haven't mentioned? Frequency shifter, where's that on? Let's see. Probably on the shaker. Yeah, makes it a bit more a bit less high and squeaky or whatever. So yeah, that's it. Let's get into what I have made with this. And yeah, it's not a full track, it's just a sketch, but I kind of like what the vibe is, what it does. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And here is the sample challenge Zonderling sketch. Woo! Thank you.